The medical shuttle felt cramped with all the equipment packed inside. Dr. Sun-hee sat with her team of 5 nurses and 3 technicians as they approached the Vren ship called the Swift Judgment. Through the small viewport, she could see the damage her ship had caused. Scorch marks across the hull, a damaged engine pod, several breached sections that had been sealed with emergency patches. Remember, she told her team, they're scared of us. Their entire species evolved as prey animals. We're predators to them, so move slowly, speak softly, show them we're here to help, not hurt. The shuttle docked with a soft thump. The airlock cycled open, revealing a corridor filled with Vren crew members. They were tall and thin, with large eyes that reminded Sun-hee of deer. They pressed themselves against the walls, trying to stay as far from the humans as possible. Sun-hee stepped forward and bowed slightly, a gesture of respect. She spoke in slow, careful Vren that Ensign Mi-young had taught her. I am Dr. Sun-hee. We come to help heal injured. Where are wounded? A Vren officer stepped forward hesitantly. His translator device made his voice sound mechanical. I am Medical Officer Thren 5. We have 17 injured. This way. As they walked through the ship, Sun-hee noticed everything. The smooth organic design of the walls, the soft purple lighting, the way the Vren moved gracefully, almost floating through the corridors. They were beautiful in their own way, elegant and peaceful looking. Nothing like the aggressive warriors humans might have expected. The medical bay was filled with injured Vren. Some had broken bones from the debris impacts. Others had burns from exploding consoles. All of them looked terrified when they saw the humans enter. Sun-hee went to the nearest patient, a young Vren with a badly broken arm. She held up her medical scanner so he could see it. This device scans you. Finds injury. Not weapon. Safe. She ran the scanner over his arm and the device beeped and displayed the fracture. Bone broken here and here. I can fix. Will hurt small amount, then feel better. You permit? The young Vren looked at Thren 5, who nodded. You may proceed, he said quietly. Sun-hee worked with steady, practiced hands. She set the bone, applied a medical brace, and gave him a pain medication that worked on Vren biology according to her scanner. Better? She asked gently. The Vren moved his arm carefully and his large eyes widened with surprise. Pain is less, much less. Thank you. Over the next 4 hours, Sun-hee and her team worked on every injured Vren. They set bones, treated burns, and repaired damaged tissue. Other human engineers were working in different parts of the ship, fixing damaged systems and helping restore power. And slowly, gradually, the Vren began to relax. You are not what we expected, Thren 5 said to Sun-hee as she worked on her last patient. What did you expect? Sun-hee asked. Monsters, killers, your history is filled with violence. Thren 5 gestured around the medical bay. But you came here to heal us, why? Sun-hee finished bandaging a burn wound before answering. Because we also have a long history of healing. Yes, humans can be violent, but we can also be kind. We choose which one to be. Right now, we choose kindness. Similar scenes were playing out across all the damaged Vren ships. Human engineers worked alongside Vren technicians, sharing techniques and learning from each other. In one ship, Sergeant Jae-hwan helped a Vren crew move heavy equipment, his superior strength making the work easier. In another ship, a human pilot named Kyung-soo taught a curious Vren officer how to play a simple card game during a break in repairs. On the human destroyer Steadfast, Admiral Dongmin stood in a conference room across from Overseer Quilth 7. They had been talking through translators for 2 hours, working out the basics of communication and understanding. Your people are very efficient, Quilth 7 observed. The repairs to our ships are proceeding faster than our own crews could manage. We've had a lot of practice fixing things quickly, Dongmin replied. War teaches you to be resourceful. Your culture frightens us, Quilth 7 said bluntly. The violence in your history, the wars, the weapons. We have never encountered a species like yours. Dongmin nodded slowly. I understand. And I won't lie to you. Everything you found in our databases is true. We have been violent. We have fought terrible wars. We have created weapons that could destroy entire planets. He paused. But we also learned from all of that. We learned that violence alone never solves anything. We learned that strength without wisdom is just destruction. We learned to be better than we were. How do we know you will not turn that violence against us? Quilth 7 asked. You don't. Not yet. Trust has to be earned. Dongmin pulled up a holographic display showing star charts. But consider this. We have encountered 3 other alien species before you. All of them were afraid of us at first. All of them had reasons to distrust us, but now they are our allies. We trade with them. We share technology. We defend each other, because we proved through our actions that we can be trusted. Quilth 7 studied the star charts. What do you want from us? Peace, trade, knowledge, the same things we want from any neighbor. Dongmin smiled. And maybe someday friendship. Back on the Indomitable Will, Captain Daijung received a message from Overseer Quilth 7. The Vren leader wanted to meet face-to-face. Daijung agreed immediately. They met on the medical ship Mercy's Hand in a neutral conference room designed for first contact situations. Daijung entered to find Quilth 7 already there, standing very still and watching him with those large, expressive eyes. Thank you for coming, Daijung said through his translator. Your ship caused significant damage to my fleet, Quilth 7 said without any emotion in his voice. Your fleet surrounded my ship and tried to capture us, Daijung replied calmly. I defended my crew. You could have destroyed my ships. Your weapons were capable of it. Why didn't you? Daijung sat down at the conference table and gestured for Quilth 7 to join him. Because we're not monsters, despite what our history might suggest. Yes, we're capable of terrible violence, but we're also capable of showing mercy. We prefer mercy. Quilth 7 sat down slowly, studying Daijung carefully. Your species confuses me. You have all the traits of apex predators. Your evolution, your biology, your history. Everything about you says you should be conquerors. Yet you offer peace. We are predators, Daijung agreed. But humans are also something else. We're survivors. And we learned a long time ago that survival doesn't just mean being the strongest. It means being smart enough to know when to fight and when to make friends. What we found in your databases? Quilth 7 hesitated. The wars. The death. The weapons. Is it all true? Daijung met his eyes directly. Every word. We have done terrible things in our history. We have killed millions of our own kind in stupid, pointless wars. We created weapons that could end all life on our planet, and we came close to using them more than once. We have a dark past, Overseer. I won't pretend otherwise. Then how can we trust you? Because we learned from that past. We grew. We changed. We made a choice to be better than we were. Daijung leaned forward. Yes, we can be violent. Yes, we can be dangerous, but we can also choose not to be. That's what makes us human. That's what makes us different from mindless predators. We have a choice and we choose peace whenever possible. Quilth 7 was quiet for a long moment. You speak of choice. But what happens when we anger you? What happens when conflict becomes unavoidable? Daijung's expression became serious. Then we fight, and we fight to win. That's the honest answer, but we will always try every other option first. We will negotiate. We will compromise. We will bend over backwards to avoid war, because we know the true cost of war better than most species ever will. That is what frightens me most, Quilth 7 admitted. Not that you can be violent, but that you can choose when to be violent and when not to be. That makes you unpredictable, dangerous. It also makes us reliable, Daijung countered. Because we follow rules. We keep our promises. When we say we come in peace, we mean it. When we offer friendship, we mean it. But when we say we will defend ourselves, we mean that too. Outside the conference room, Scientist Prith 3 watched through the observation window. Beside her stood Commander Hyobin, and together they watched their leaders try to bridge the gap between 2 very different species. Do you think they will reach an agreement? Prith 3 asked in her improving human language. I think they already have, Hyobin replied. They're just working out the details now. Your people are learning that humans can be trusted. Our people are learning that not every alien species is a potential enemy. It's a good day for both of us. 6 months later, the Treaty of Kepler 442 was signed. The Vren Collective and the Terran Coalition agreed to peace, mutual defense, and the free exchange of knowledge and technology. The Vren shared their advanced scanning and propulsion systems. Humans shared agricultural techniques and medical technology. Scientist Prith 3 became the first Vren ambassador to humanity. She moved to Earth and spent her days teaching at universities, helping humans and Vren understand each other better. Ensign Mi Young, now Lieutenant Mi Young, worked as her personal translator and became fluent in Vren, teaching classes in the language to thousands of students. EF. Inside the dark corridors of the Indomitable Will, the crew waited in silence. They had been hiding in the asteroid field for 12 hours now. The ship ran on minimal power, barely enough to keep life support functioning. Everyone spoke in whispers as if the aliens might somehow hear them through the vacuum of space. Captain Dae-jung stood in his ready room, studying the translated alien communications that Ensign Mi-young had decoded. The young officer had worked through the night, using patterns from the alien message and comparing them to every linguistic database the ship had. She was getting better at understanding the Vren language with every passing hour. Commander Hyobin entered quietly. "Sir, Dr. Sun-hee reports all injured personnel are recovering well. Chief Byung-ho says the engines are at 70% capacity after that acceleration burn, but he can get us to 80% in another 6 hours. And Sergeant Jae-hwan reports his Marines are ready if we need them." "Good. What about our new friends out there?" Dae-jung gestured to the tactical display on his wall. "The Vren fleet is conducting a systematic search of the asteroid field, but they're moving slowly. I think we scared them." Hyobin allowed herself a small smile. "They're being much more careful now." "As they should be." Dae-jung pulled up the sensor data showing the 3 new human ships that had arrived. "Do we know who's in command of the relief force?" "Yes, sir. Admiral Dongmin on the destroyer Steadfast. He brought a frigate called the Relentless and a medical vessel, the Mercy's Hand." Hyobin studied the data. "Interesting choice to bring a medical ship. The Admiral is smart. He's showing the Vren that we came prepared to help, not just to fight." Dae-jung sat down and rubbed his tired eyes. "What's the status of the Vren fleet?" 10 ships damaged but still operational. They've pulled back to a defensive formation around their flagship. They're talking a lot on their communications channels. Ensign Mi-young says it sounds like they're arguing about what to do next. On the Vren flagship Eternal Dominance, scientist Prith 3 was indeed in the middle of an argument. She stood before Overseer Quilth 7 and Subcommander Karth 9, her datapad clutched in her hands. "We must reconsider our approach," she said firmly, despite her fear of the aggressive Karth 9. "I have continued analyzing the human databases, and I have found something important." "What could possibly be more important than the fact that 3 more human warships just arrived?" Karth 9 demanded. "We need to attack now before they can organize." "That would be a mistake, Commander," Prith 3 said. "Look at this data. Humans have something called proportional response. It means they match their level of violence to the threat they face. We surrounded 1 ship, they damaged 10. They did not destroy us when they could have." "That was a choice." Quilth 7 leaned forward with interest. "Go on." "I found records of human history that show this pattern repeatedly. They have rules of engagement. They have international laws. They created something called the Geneva Conventions, which are rules about how to treat prisoners and wounded enemies." Prith 3 displayed images from human history. Most importantly, they have made peace with 3 other alien species. The Colossians, the Dranthi, and the Yilvanti. All 3 were initially hostile to humans, but now they are allies. "How did they accomplish this?" Quilth 7 asked. "Through a combination of strength and mercy, Overseer. They showed they could fight when necessary, but they always offered the option of peace." Prith 3 pulled up more data. "I also found something called war crimes tribunals. These are courts where humans judge their own people for being too violent during war. They punish their own kind for breaking the rules of warfare." Karth 9 shook his head. "This makes no sense. Why would a warrior species limit its own effectiveness?" "Because they learned something over their thousands of years of warfare," Prith 3 explained. "They learned that excessive violence creates enemies that will never surrender. But measured violence, followed by offers of peace, creates the possibility of ending conflicts. They are not mindless predators, Commander. They are calculated, rational beings who understand that permanent warfare is not sustainable." Quilth 7 stood and walked to the viewport, looking out at the star field. "You are saying we can negotiate with them?" "I am saying we must try, Overseer. Because if we continue to fight, I have analyzed their probable tactics based on their military history. With 4 ships, they will attempt to divide our fleet and defeat us in smaller engagements. Their reinforcements will continue to arrive, and we will eventually lose." Prith 3's voice was steady now. "The scan we performed gave us knowledge, but knowledge is not wisdom. We know what humans are. We must now learn how to live alongside them." Before Quilth 7 could respond, the communication station beeped urgently. "Overseer, we are receiving a transmission from the human fleet. It is from someone identifying as Admiral Dong-min." "Put it through," Quilth 7 ordered. A voice spoke in careful, slow Vren. The pronunciation was terrible, but the words were understandable. "This is Admiral Dong Min of the Terran Coalition. We are here for our people. Stand down. We do not want more violence." Karth 9 moved toward the weapons console. "It's a trick. They're trying to make us lower our guard." "Wait," Quilth 7 said, holding up one hand. He activated the communication system. "This is Overseer Quilth 7 of the Vren Collective. Your ship attacked us without provocation." There was a pause, then Admiral Dongmin's voice came back. "With respect, Overseer, you scanned our vessel without permission. You surrounded us with 30 warships. My captain defended his crew. That is what any commander would do. Your ship damaged 10 of our vessels. Your ships are still functional. My captain could have destroyed them. He chose not to. That should tell you something about human intentions." Inside the indomitable will, Captain Dae-jung listened to the conversation with approval. Admiral Dong-min was handling this well, showing strength while offering a path to peace. Ensign Mi-young sat at her station, translating everything in real time and improving her understanding of Vren language with every exchange. "Captain, the medical ship Mercy's Hand is moving forward," Commander Hyo-bin reported. "It's positioning itself between our fleet and the Vren fleet." Dae-jung watched the tactical display. "The Admiral is showing them we're serious about peace." "A medical ship has no weapons. It's completely vulnerable. By putting it in the line of fire, he's demonstrating trust." On the Vren flagship, Scientist Prith 3 was explaining the same thing to Overseer Quilth 7. "The medical vessel is a gesture, Overseer. They are showing us they do not expect us to fire first." Admiral Dongmin's voice came through the speakers again. "Overseer Quilth 7, our medical ship can provide assistance to your damaged vessels. We have doctors and engineers ready to help repair any systems that were damaged in the engagement. This is our offer of good faith." Karth 9 looked at Quilth 7 in disbelief. "They want to help us? This must be some kind of strategy." "Perhaps," Quilth 7 said slowly. "Or perhaps this is exactly what Scientist Prith 3 has been trying to tell us. They show strength through their warships and mercy through their medical ship. They give us a choice." He made his decision. "Accept their offer. Allow their medical teams to board our damaged vessels." "Overseer, this is madness," Karth 9 protested. "No, Commander. Madness is continuing to fight a species that has been perfecting warfare for thousands of years. Madness is making enemies when we could make allies." Quilth 7 turned to face Karth 9 directly. "They scanned one of our ships. Would you have found offers of mercy in our databases? Or only conquest and assimilation?" Karth 9 had no answer for that. As the Vren acceptance came through, Dr. Sun-hee prepared her medical teams. She selected her best people and made sure they understood the mission. "We're going on to alien ships to help people who were shooting at us yesterday. Show them what human compassion looks like. Show them we're not just warriors. We're healers too." The shuttles launched from the Mercy's Hand carrying medical personnel and engineers. As they approached the damaged Vren vessels, every human felt the weight of the moment. This was first contact in the truest sense. Two species learning about each other not through databases and scans, but through direct interaction. In the asteroid field, Captain Dae-jung watched it all unfold on his sensors. "Bring us out of hiding, Commander. Slowly, let them see us. It's time to stop hiding in the dark." The indomitable will powered up its engines and drifted out of the asteroid field into open space. The damaged but defiant human ship emerged like a ghost, taking its place beside the other human vessels. Hyo-bin looked at her captain with respect. "You planned this from the beginning, didn't you? The escape, the message, buying time until reinforcements arrived." Dae-jung smiled slightly. "I planned to survive, Commander. Everything after that was just humans doing what we do best, adapting." In space, the first human shuttle docked with a Vren ship. Dr. Sun-hee stepped aboard, medical bag in hand, ready to treat people who had been enemies just hours before. The Vren crew watched her nervously, unsure what to expect from this predator species. Sun-hee smiled warmly and spoke slowly in broken Vren. "I am Doctor. I help, no fear." And in that moment, everything began to change. Captain Dae-jung watched the alien fleet tighten their circle around the indomitable will. His crew sat at their stations, tense and ready. He could feel their fear, but he could also feel their trust. They believed he would get them through this. He hoped he deserved that trust. "Commander Hyo-bin, what do we know about their formation?" he asked calmly. Hyobin studied her tactical display with practiced eyes. It's a standard capture pattern, sir. They're trying to surround us completely so we can't jump to faster than light speed. The flagship is hanging back while the smaller ships close in. Classic behavior for a species that thinks they've already won. Good. That means they're following a plan. And plans can be disrupted. Daejung turned to Ensign Mi-young. Any response to our hails? Nothing, sir. They sent us a message in 47 different alien languages, but none of them are languages we know. I think they're demanding surrender, but I can't be sure. Mi-young looked frustrated. She was good at languages, but these were completely new to her. They're talking at us, not to us, Daejung observed. They don't expect us to understand. They're just following a procedure. He stood up and walked to the front of the bridge. Listen carefully, everyone. We're going to do something that's going to seem insane, but I need you to trust me and do exactly what I say. Exactly when I say it. Lieutenant Taewon swallowed hard. What's the plan, sir? We're going to teach them that capturing a human ship is a very bad idea. Daejung pulled up a star chart on the main view screen. See these 3 asteroids? They're right at the edge of our sensor range. I need you to plot a course that takes us straight through the middle of the alien formation and toward those asteroids. Sir, that will take us directly between at least 6 enemy ships, Taewon said, his voice shaking slightly. I know. That's the point. They expect us to try running away from them. We're going to run toward them instead. Daejung turned to Chief Engineer Byung-ho on the communication screen. Chief, I need maximum acceleration on my mark. 47 Gs for exactly 12 seconds. On the engine deck, Byung-ho's weathered face showed surprise. Captain, 47 Gs? That's going to push the inertial dampeners to their limit. Everyone on board is going to feel like an elephant is sitting on their chest. I know, but those aliens out there evolved from herd animals that eat plants. Their bodies are probably much more fragile than ours. They won't expect us to pull a maneuver that would crush their bones. Daejung smiled grimly. We're going to use our own biology as a weapon. Down in the Marine quarters, Sergeant Jae-hwan was checking his equipment when the plan came through on his display. He laughed out loud. Now that's what I'm talking about, he said to his assembled troops. The captain is about to show these aliens why you don't mess with humans. Lock everything down and prepare for heavy acceleration. This is going to hurt, but we've trained for worse. His Marines checked their gear and secured themselves. They were the ship's soldiers, the professional warriors that scientist Prith 3 had found so disturbing in the human database. Every one of them had volunteered for this job. Every one of them would die before they let their ship be captured. Back on the bridge, Daejung continued explaining his plan. Lieutenant Taewon, when we make our run, I want you to target those 3 asteroids. Not the enemy ships. The asteroids. Use our heaviest weapons. Break them apart into as many pieces as possible. Taewon's eyes widened as he understood. You want to create a debris field? Exactly. We're going to throw rocks at them. Our ancestors did it to each other for thousands of years. It's time to show the galaxy that humans still remember how. Daejung looked at Commander Hyobin. After we break through their formation, we go dark. Shut down everything except life support and minimal engines. We hide in the debris and wait. They'll be looking for us, Hyobin pointed out. Yes, they will. And while they're looking, they'll be wondering what else we might do. Fear is a weapon too, Commander. Daejung moved back to his command chair and sat down. All stations prepare for Protocol Omega-7. On my mark. The alien ships continued to close in. 200 kilometers. 100 kilometers. 50 kilometers. They were moving slowly and carefully like hunters approaching a trapped animal. Now, Daejung shouted. Everything happened at once. The indomitable Will's engines roared to full power. The ship accelerated forward so fast that even with the inertial dampeners working at maximum, everyone on board felt like they weighed 3 times normal. People groaned under the pressure. Some screamed. But they all held on. Lieutenant Taewon, fighting against the heavy acceleration, managed to fire the ship's main weapons. Massive energy beams shot out and hit the 3 asteroids exactly as planned. The space rocks exploded into thousands of pieces. The alien fleet barely had time to react. The human ship came straight at them, not veering away, not slowing down, just charging forward like an angry bull. 2 Vren ships tried to move into its path, but they were too slow. The indomitable Will shot between them with less than 100 meters of clearance on each side. Then the debris field hit. Thousands of rock fragments, some as small as pebbles, some as large as houses, all moving at incredible speed. The alien ships had shields, but those shields were designed for energy weapons, not physical objects. Rocks punched through the shields and slammed into hulls. 7 Vren ships immediately took damage. Alarms blared throughout the alien fleet. Overseer Quilth 7 watched in shock as the human ship did the impossible. They're using primitive weapons. They're throwing rocks at us. Shields are not stopping the debris, Overseer. Prith 3 reported, her voice high with stress. The fragments are too small and too numerous. Our targeting systems can't track them all. As the indomitable will cleared the debris field, Lieutenant Taewan targeted 3 more alien ships with the conventional weapons. He didn't try to destroy them, just damage them enough to slow them down. 3 ships took hits to their engines and fell behind. Going dark, Daejung ordered. The ship's engines cut to minimum power. All external lights went off. The sensor arrays shut down. The indomitable will became just another piece of debris in the asteroid field, floating silently in the darkness. Inside the ship, emergency lighting cast everything in a red glow. The crew breathed hard, recovering from the brutal acceleration. Dr. Sun-hee moved through the corridors checking on people. 14 crew members had injuries, but nothing serious. Humans were tough. That was one of the things the aliens had learned from their scan. Now they were learning it again the hard way. On the Vren flagship, chaos reigned. 10 ships damaged. Formation broken. The human vessel had disappeared into the asteroid field. Sub-Commander Karth 9 was shouting orders, trying to reorganize the fleet. Scientist Prith 3 was working frantically at her station, trying to locate the human ship. Overseer Quilth 7 sat very still in his command chair. His mind was working through what had just happened. The humans had not panicked. They had calculated everything. The angle of attack, the position of the asteroids, the weakness in the Vren formation. They had planned all of it in less than 3 minutes. Find them, he said quietly. Overseer, they could be anywhere in that debris field, Karth 9 protested. It will take hours to search every piece of rock. Then we have hours to think about what we just saw, Quilth 7 replied. We scanned their ship. We read their files. We learned about their wars and their violence. And we thought we understood. He paused. We understood nothing. Those were not the actions of a panicked prey animal. Those were the actions of a predator that just escaped a trap, and now that predator is hiding in the dark watching us, waiting to see what we do next. Prith 3 looked up from her station. Overseer, I'm detecting something. It's a transmission, very weak, coming from the asteroid field. What does it say? Prith 3 worked to translate the message. Her eyes went wide. It's in our language, Overseer. Broken and poorly pronounced, but it's definitely our language. How did they learn our language so quickly? I don't know, but the message says they did not come here to fight. They say they were exploring. They say we scanned them without permission and surrounded them. They claim they only defended themselves. Prith 3 paused. Then they say something else, Overseer. They say if we want to talk, they will talk. But if we want to fight, we should know that we only scanned 1 ship. They say there are 40 billion more humans behind them and thousands more ships. The command chamber became silent. Quilth 7 felt the weight of a terrible decision settling on his shoulders. Fight and possibly face a war with a species that had been perfecting warfare for thousands of years? Or talk and admit that the mighty Vren collective had been outmaneuvered by a single ship? He never got to make that choice. Long-range sensors detected new contacts entering the system. 3 more human vessels, larger than the first, dropping out of faster-than-light travel and heading straight toward them. Overseer Quilth 7 stood in the command chamber of his flagship, the Eternal Dominance, watching the data streams flow across the holographic displays. His body was tall and thin, covered in smooth gray skin that reflected the purple lights of his ship. His people, the Vren, had ruled this part of space for 50,000 years. They had brought 47 different species into their collective. Not one had ever resisted successfully. Overseer, the scan is complete, announced scientist Prith 3 from her station. She was smaller than Quilth 7, with darker skin and large eyes that processed information faster than most Vren. The data is extraordinary. I have never seen anything like this species. Show me, Quilth 7 commanded. The holographic display changed to show a 3-dimensional image of a human. The creature stood on 2 legs, had 2 arms, and a head with forward-facing eyes. Predator eyes. Quilth 7 felt a shiver of ancient fear run through his body. The Vren had evolved from herd animals that ate plants. Predators were things from nightmares and old stories. They call themselves humans, Prith 3 explained, her voice uncertain. They come from a planet called Earth. Overseer, their entire evolutionary history is built around hunting and killing other creatures for food. Sub-Commander Karth 9 stepped forward. He was a warrior, aggressive and proud of his many victories. So they are predators. We have encountered predator species before. They are always small populations, limited by their need for prey. They pose no real threat. I thought that too, Prith 3 said quietly. But I was wrong. These humans are different. Their planet had multiple predator species competing with each other. To survive, humans became the most efficient killers on their world. They did not have claws, so they made weapons. They did not have thick skin, so they made armor. They were not fast, so they learned to hunt by chasing prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. Some hunts lasted for days. Quilth 7 felt his breathing become faster. How did such creatures develop civilization? Predators fight each other for territory. They did fight each other, Overseer, constantly for their entire history. Prith 3 brought up more data. Look at their historical records. They had something called the First World War. Over 20 million died. Then 20 years later they had a Second World War. Over 70 million died. And those are just two conflicts. Their database lists thousands of wars throughout their history. The command chamber became very quiet. Sub-Commander Karth 9 spoke first. Millions. In single conflicts? That cannot be correct. No species could survive such losses. Their population is 40 billion, Commander. They breed quickly and heal from injuries that would kill most species. Their bones are incredibly dense. Their muscles are much stronger than their size suggests. And they have something in their biology called an adrenaline response. Prith 3 manipulated the display to show human chemical processes. When threatened, their bodies release chemicals that make them stronger, faster, and less sensitive to pain. They become even more dangerous when injured. Quilth 7 moved closer to the display. You said they developed civilization despite this violence. How? They created rules for warfare, Overseer. They have something called war crimes, acts that are too horrible even by their standards. They made laws that say you cannot harm certain people during war. You cannot use certain weapons. You cannot destroy certain places. Prith 3 looked at Quilth 7 with confused eyes. They had to make rules for how to kill each other because they were too good at it. This is madness, Karth 9 said. We should destroy their ship now before they can bring more of their kind here. There is more, Commander, Prith 3 continued. Much more. They have something called soldiers. These are people whose only job is to fight. They train for years to become more efficient at warfare. The ship we scanned carries 800 of these soldiers in addition to the regular crew. Quilth 7 felt true fear for the first time in his long life. Professional warriors? An entire class of people dedicated to violence? Yes, Overseer. And according to their database, this ship is classified as a light patrol cruiser in human terms. It is not even close to their most powerful vessel. They have ships 3 times this size that they call dreadnoughts and battleships. Their entire civilization is organized partly around the concept of warfare. Sub-Commander Karth 9 looked at the tactical display. Then why did this ship not attack us? We surrounded it. We scanned it. Any warrior species would have fought back immediately. Prith 3 brought up another file. Because they also have something called diplomacy and rules of engagement. They have made peace with 3 other alien species. They have treaties. They have laws that say when they can and cannot use violence. They are predators who learn to control their predatory instincts. That makes them more dangerous, not less, Quilth 7 said slowly. A mindless predator you can predict, but a predator that can think, that can choose when to kill and when to show mercy, that is truly terrifying. The Overseer walked around the command chamber, his mind processing all this new information. The Vren had become the dominant power in this region because they had better technology than everyone else. They scanned other species, learned their weaknesses, and then overwhelmed them with superior numbers and weapons. It always worked because other species treated war as a last resort, something to avoid if possible. But humans had been at war for their entire existence. They knew violence in ways the Vren could never understand. Overseer, what are your orders? Karth 9 asked. Quilth 7 looked at the tactical display showing the surrounded human ship. We will capture it. We will study their technology and their biology. We will learn everything about them. Sir, I recommend caution, Prith 3 said nervously. Their database contains extensive information about tactics and strategy. They have fought against superior numbers countless times. They have won battles that should have been impossible to win. We have 30 ships against their 1, Karth 9 said confidently. Even human warriors cannot overcome those odds. Perhaps, Quilth 7 said. But we will be careful. Transmit a message demanding surrender. Use all the languages in our database. Overseer, they will not understand our languages, Prith 3 pointed out. I know, but the act of trying to communicate will show them we follow certain protocols. It may make them hesitate. And any hesitation gives us an advantage. Quilth 7 moved to his command seat. Prepare capture beams. Target their engines and weapon systems. I want that ship intact. The message was sent. The Vren fleet moved into position. Everything was proceeding according to plan. Quilth 7 had captured dozens of alien vessels using this exact method. It never failed. But as he watched the human ship sitting there in space, surrounded and outgunned, he felt something he had not felt in centuries. Doubt. The humans had been fighting wars for thousands of years. They had faced extinction multiple times and survived. They had gone from throwing rocks at each other to building ships that could travel between stars. And they had done all of this while constantly fighting among themselves. What would happen when they finally united against a common enemy? Quilth 7 was about to find out. And somewhere deep in his ancient instincts, the part of him that remembered when his ancestors were prey animals running from predators, that part was screaming at him to run away, but he was overseer of the Vren fleet. He had never run from anything. He would not start now. The human ship still had not moved. Quilth 7 gave the order. Close the formation. Begin the capture. The stars looked peaceful from the bridge of the indomitable will. Captain Daejung stood with his hands behind his back, watching the viewport as his ship moved through the darkness near the Kepler 442 system. He had been doing this job for 20 years now, and he still loved the quiet moments between jumps. His ship was big, almost 2.5 kilometers long, and it carried over 3,000 people. Most of them were sleeping right now during the night shift. Commander Hyobin walked up beside him with a datapad in her hands. She was his second in command and one of the smartest people he knew. Before joining the military, she had studied alien life forms at the academy. Sir, the long-range sensors are picking up something strange, she said quietly. Daejung turned to look at her. Strange how? There's a ship. A very big ship. It just appeared about 2 million kilometers away. The computer doesn't recognize the design. She handed him the datapad and he looked at the readings. The unknown vessel was massive, maybe 3 times the size of the indomitable will. Sound general quarters, Daejung said calmly. Wake everyone up. I want all stations manned in 5 minutes. Alarms began to sound throughout the ship. Men and women ran to their positions, pulling on uniforms and rubbing sleep from their eyes. On the bridge, Lieutenant Taewon rushed to his weapons station and began checking all the systems. He was young, maybe 25, and this was his first tour on a big ship. His fingers moved quickly across the controls. Captain, the unknown ship is moving closer, called out Ensign Mi-young from the communication station. She was even younger than Taewon, fresh out of the academy with nervous energy in every movement. Shields up. But don't power weapons yet. Let's see what they want, Daejung ordered. He felt his heart beating faster, but his voice stayed calm. That was the job of a captain. Stay calm when everyone else wanted to panic. The unknown ship kept coming closer. It was beautiful in a strange way, with smooth curves and a purple glow coming from its engines. Nothing like human ships, which were all angles and armor plating. This looked almost alive. Sir, they're scanning us, Hyobin said, her voice tight with worry. It's a deep scan. They're cutting right through our shields like they're not even there. Daejung felt his jaw clench. A scan like that was rude at best, hostile at worst. It was like someone breaking into your house and going through all your belongings. Can we block it? No, sir. Their technology is more advanced than ours. They're reading everything. Our weapons, our engines, our crew, our computers, everything. Hyobin looked at him with wide eyes. Captain, they're accessing our databases. Our history files. Personnel records. Ship classifications. All of it. Lieutenant Taewon, charge all weapons but keep them powered down. I want to be ready if this goes bad, Daejung said. He walked to his command chair and sat down, forcing himself to look relaxed. Ensign Mi-young, try every frequency, every language in our database. Tell them we come in peace and ask them to identify themselves. Mi Young's fingers flew across her console. Trying all channels, sir. No response. They're just scanning us. The scan continued for another 3 minutes. It felt like hours. Down in the medical bay, Dr. Sun-hee stood with her arms crossed, watching her instruments as they recorded strange energy patterns moving through the ship. She didn't like this at all. Sun-hee had been a doctor for 15 years, and she had seen what happened when different species met for the first time. It didn't always go well. Deep in engineering, Chief Engineer Byung-ho was checking every system twice. He was an old man, at least by military standards, almost 60 years old. He had kept this ship running for 8 years through battles, accidents, and more problems than he could count. Right now, all his instruments were showing that strange energy passing through every deck, every room, every computer core. "Boss, what is that?" asked one of his young engineers. "That boy is someone being very nosy," Byung-ho replied. "And I don't like nosy." Back on the bridge, the scan finally stopped. The unknown ship just sat there in space, 200,000 kilometers away. Not moving, not communicating, just sitting. "What are they doing?" Taewon asked nervously. "They're thinking," Hyobin answered. "They just learned everything about us. Now they're deciding what to do with that information." Daejung stood up from his chair. "Ensign, keep trying to make contact. Commander Hyobin, I want you to review everything we know about first contact protocols. If they scanned our databases, they know we've met other alien species peacefully. Maybe that will mean something to them." "Yes, sir," Hyobin said, but she didn't sound confident. The minutes ticked by. 5 minutes, 10, 20. The crew waited, hands on controls, ready for anything. Some prayed. Some just breathed slowly and tried to stay calm. This was what they trained for, but training and reality were very different things. "Captain, I'm picking up more ships," Mi Young suddenly announced. "Lots more ships. They're coming out of faster-than-light travel all around us." The view screen changed to show the tactical display. Red dots appeared in a circle around the indomitable will. 1 dot, then 5, then 10, then 20, then 30. 30 alien warships, all bigger than the human vessel, all surrounding them in a perfect formation. "That's a capture formation," Hyobin whispered. "They're trying to trap us, not destroy us." Daejung felt cold understanding wash over him. "They want us alive. They want to study us." He looked at his crew, seeing fear in their faces. "Listen to me, all of you. If they wanted us dead, we would already be dead. They want something else. That gives us options." "What kind of options, sir?" Taewon asked. "The kind where we show them that humans don't get captured easily," Daejung said with a small, hard smile. "Commander, pull up the file on Protocol Omega-7. Hyobin's eyes went wide. "Sir, that protocol is considered extremely dangerous. It's never been tested in real combat." "Then I guess today we find out if it works," Daejung replied. "Because right now those ships out there think they've caught a small, helpless human vessel. They scanned our computers. They read our files. They know what we are." He paused, looking at each member of his bridge crew. But knowing what humans are on paper and experiencing what humans can do are two very different things. "It's time to give them an education." The alien ships began to move closer, tightening their circle. Whatever they had learned from their scans, they clearly thought they had the advantage. They had no idea what was about to happen.